Seth Barron joins us. He's Associate Editor of City Journal and a Project Director at the NYC Initiative at the prestigious Manhattan Institute right here in New York. Seth, thanks for joining us on Liquid Lunch.
Thanks, John.
It's our first week. It's our maiden voyage as a national television show, and we say at Liquid Lunch that we will give it to you on the rocks, we'll give it to you neat, once in a while maybe a little dirty, but always straight up.
Straight
and
up.
Frankie, my producer, joins us again. He tells me you're one of the most straight up guys out there, and you have a lot of thoughts on de Blasio and whether or not we should worry about Trump's tax returns and stuff. What say you on this whole de Blasio mess?
Well, I mean, look, de Blasio, everybody's laughing about it, right? And it's pretty funny. He's not a popular guy in the city. He's worked hard to develop a national reputation, and that hasn't really worked out. But at the same time, you know, can we totally just dismiss him? I mean, if you think about the top 5 or 6 candidates in the Democratic campaign, you've got Biden, you've got, I don't know, Bernie, Kamala, Buttigieg. How many of them have serious executive experience? Not that much.
None.
Yeah, de Blasio has been the mayor for 6 years of the biggest city in the country. Whether he's done a good job or not is up for debate, but he does have an argument as to why he was a plausible candidate.
What do you think, Frankie?
Well, I would be curious about Seth's take. A lot of ambitious politicians have been mayor of New York City. You have DeWitt Clinton, Rudy Giuliani, John Lindsay. Not one of them has ever been able to make it to the presidency. What is it about the mayoralty that seems to be a presidential ambition killer?
Yeah, it's a good question. Nobody goes anywhere from being mayor. I think there was a mayor around 1900 who became a congressman. Other than that, no, they don't go anywhere. I don't know. That's a great question. Being mayor, you get a huge amount of scrutiny. You're always going to have things that go wrong in the city that you can be blamed for, like a snowstorm, something like the Crown Heights riots. I mean, that's always going to be on Dinkins' head.
Well, I know a bunch of sanitation men right here in New York City, great friends of mine, Shawnee, Joe, all these guys. They were out there working hard, but the direction that they're getting from the top, when you talk about snowstorms, this guy has bungled even just about every snowstorm. Not to the fault of our good friends at the Department of Sanitation, but from the leadership they're getting from the top. The DOI here in New York opens an investigation into all these money people. Everybody that was around Bill de Blasio has been arrested or indicted or allegedly given him bribes to some thing he's done. And
no, you're exactly right. One question I would have, Seth, is a lot of folks around the country watching now, they were familiar with Rudy Giuliani, they were familiar with Mike Bloomberg, certainly familiar with Ed Koch, but they loved these guys or hated him. They may not be as familiar with Bill de Blasio.
Right.
What is the most important aspect of Bill de Blasio's tenure as mayor that you'd want Americans that haven't been paying attention in New York government to know?
Well, it's important to know that he's really a creature of the far left and public sector unions. That's, which are very powerful in New York City, like the teachers union, the various unions that, people who work for the city basically and get to unionize and then, also contribute to campaigns. He's very much tied in with them. So that's always been his priority. He's anti-charter school. He gave as soon as he got in, he gave the teachers like a $5 billion contract, including a $2 billion retroactive raise. Not just like,
That's
okay.
my kind of raise. Raise for work you did already.
Yeah, right.
hey,
real quick, Seth, if it's okay. It's okay, John.
I'm already sweating.
You had a phenomenal column in the New York Post this week about the president's tax returns. You seem to think that even if the Democrats get the president's tax returns, it doesn't seem to change much. Why?
Well, the thing about the president's tax returns, it's like, think about what's on a tax return. It just says, like, what's your income? What do you owe? It doesn't say, what did you do at your job?
No.
How did you get your job?
You don't list all your investments. They
No.
ask you for a number of
And
how
they
much
don't. You
your
don't list.
investments are. You don't list
You're not
this
going to
stuff.
see. I owe Putin $1 billion.
No, I borrowed $1 million from Deutsche Bank,
No,
right? You
yeah.
know what I mean? Or I borrowed $1 billion from Deutsche Bank.
But even then,
that's
it doesn't
what I'm
say
saying.
which bank it is.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, it says it's a net P&L, right? I got
Right.
this much in debt. I got this much in income. Here are my losses. Here are my write-offs, my tax deductions. I think it's a waste of everyone's time going after. But we're probably all three in agreement on this. We should let the government. We should let our government govern.
Well, I think the president should release his tax returns, but the American people, if you don't want to vote for him because he doesn't, don't vote for him.